Once again, my people, you know what it is. It's the design, Tony Teflon, Phil the Issues Guy, the Kaiser Sosa of the group, Bridge motherfucking 4, Usual Suspects podcast, for House of the Dragon, episode 6 is in full effect. This pregame live stream. Thank you for everybody for rocking with us and everything else. Let's give a couple of shout outs to some of these people who are in the building rocking with us right now. PBT, Erica Kane. Up in this place. The Imaginary Realm is up in the building. Giant Moon is up in the building. Why So Curious is up in here. My brother from another mother, Muhammad's in here. Hey, Spice is in here. As always, our girl, Miss Duncan the Tall, is up in here rocking with us, right? A Big Bank is in the building rocking with us. Sonic, your boy and mine, is up in this building. My brother, P. Easy, is in the building rocking with us. And if you are looking for t-shirts of any kind, hit up, man, P Easy, man. P Easy gets that job done for you. Trust me, man. He does a job for you. And we got a bunch of other people in here. Pam of House Slaughter is up in the building rocking with us. Shay is in the building rocking with us. I get you up there, Shay. Let's make sure you're up there. No KS is in this building. We got a man, Kelly Johnson, is up in this piece, rocking with us and everything else. You know what I mean? We got a bunch of people up in here. We got more than that. There's much more than that. I don't know if we can go through everybody up in here, but we'll come back and we'll give y'all some shout outs too. I promise you. All right, and everything else. Let's we got though it seems like a long time, it really isn't. We got a little time. All right, so let's just go around about the episode itself as a whole. Phil, what did you think of it?
Last week's episode, I thought it was good. I mean, I think it was a little bit of an exhale after the previous episode, catching up on everything that happens, but I think that's necessary. I think people tend to look down on episodes that don't have action going on, bam, bam, bam. But I think it's so important in a series like this, or in any series, that when something intense and bad happens, that they take a moment to kind of take in the weight of what actually happened. And I thought the episode did a great job of having almost a cloud over the whole thing of dealing with the world without Rhaenys. And I thought especially the first scene of the episode, we'll talk about this later, but the first scene of the episode with Rhaenyra and Corlys in it were two of the best actors on the show doing some amazing work. There was also a moment, I believe, in this episode, I'm conflabbing them all, where the camera just focuses on Alicent in the small council thing, where she's losing control and it slow pans back. Little things like that for me, from a filmmaking standpoint, showing, not telling. I thought this was just a great episode of depicting the emotions of our characters. And I don't think we did that enough in season 1. So I think this episode felt more like a character profile episode. And I like those kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff.
Bridge.
Yeah, I'm with him. The way I'd compare it to, I don't know if there's a great example, but a show like Vikings on Netflix, not the original Vikings. It's just I don't know. I stopped watching it eventually. I'm sure it's fine. I'd rather read and play chess or whatever. But it's a lot of shows nowadays, they just go from action scene to action scene, or this main city to this main city. And it's sure, if you're entertained by that, fine. To me, it's just choreography. I need the big battles and stuff. I need them to mean something. So I need these slower episodes where I'm spending time with them, reflecting on what happened before we build up to the next one. So yeah, I love this show. I always say, House of Dragon, it's top class television. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think you can compare it to a roller coaster, right? When you get to the big drop,
you
got to work your way back up to that big drop again. And if you don't, then it just becomes a repetitive free-for-all. And no one likes that, because you just scream all the way down till you pass out. You got to have a chance to catch your breath, soak everything in. And what makes Game of Thrones, in the original series, Game of Thrones, is the political intrigue, right? We all know about the fantasy and the dragons and everything. And we've seen that in a lot of different shows, whether you're talking about The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. But what makes those shows special is the relationships you grasp with these characters. And Game of Thrones is more like, what's that Kevin Spacey show on Netflix?
House of Cards.
House of Cards is more House of Cards than it is Lord of the Rings, right? So just so that I need all that stuff to come into play, so that you can decide on whose side you want to be on and how it's going to play out. If you don't have that, I think that it's just not going to be as good of a show. As Bridge said, I love to see the battles, but if you give me battle after battle after battle, it gets boring after a while. I don't want to see anything like that. So that being said, do you think it was a good idea that they switched this down to 8 episodes instead of the 10 that we normally would?
No, I don't. I don't. I think. I don't know. I mean, I've talked about this before with you, Tony, in different things in the way of saying that we come from the era of 26 episode seasons. I'm a Star Trek fan. The main Star Trek series, not the original, but Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, all were like 23 to 26 episode seasons, and all shows were like that. And I do think that's too much. I think 10 to 15 is a hot zone where it feels like you're being overwhelmed by the show. Like, for instance, I know it's not the whole season, but Cobra Kai dropped 5 episodes, and I watched the 5 episodes. It was too little. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't feel like I was getting into it, and I feel like 8 is a little too little. And also, I think beyond that, and Bridge might disagree because I know he doesn't have much of a problem with the final seasons of Game of Thrones as some other people do. But I also think optics is big in the Song of Ice and Fire with mainstream audiences right now, and to cut the season right after the first season, it brings a little bit of that post-traumatic 7 and 8 disorder to some of the people that may not give this series a chance that could. Oh, they're cutting episodes already. And I know that's a little of importance to the whole overall theme, but I do think their optics in television series are a thing, and I think I want more, Tony. I don't want less.
All right, I hear you. I hear a lot of people in the chat agree with you. Bridge, what are you thinking?
I guess ultimately the number of episodes depends on what story you're trying to tell. I don't know what their endpoint is for the season, so I can only base it off. What have we had so far? We had 5 or 6 so far. 5.
We had 5, right?
5 so far.
Tonight is 6. Yeah, tonight.
So far, I felt like it hasn't been too fast and it hasn't been too slow. So they're telling the story the way that I'm enjoying watching it. Yeah. So if it continues that way for the next 3, then I would say 8 was the right choice. Granted, yeah, I love House of the Dragon. Like I wish there was a story that would be 10. I would want a 26 episode season of House of the Dragon, but I don't know. So far I'm enjoying it. So I figure after 8 episodes, I'm probably going to say that was the right call.
Yeah, it's all depends, right? They said the reason why they did it was they didn't want any filler episodes, right? That's what they were trying to avoid by doing that. They wanted every episode to be a banger. So they did go into it thinking they were going to do 10 episodes and then shrunk things down. That brings us to the Harrenhal stuff with Daemon that people are not liking as much, saying that it's a waste of time and everything. Would you get more Harrenhal with Daemon if they had 10 episodes? And would that make it drag out even longer if you had 10 episodes? What do you think?
See, Tony, this is where maybe I disagree with the philosophy of that. I love the Daemon and Harrenhal stuff. It's comedy. It's high comedy to me. It's kind of some of that stuff that Bridge was talking about at the beginning. Like, it's Daemon's big trip. He's like the Big Lebowski sometimes in that stuff. I'm viewing it in a very comedic sense. The cuts to the quick stuff at the table with what's his name, Strong. I can't think of that guy's name. But it's hilarious to me. Like, I find it great. I think it's a great character shift for Daemon. So by that definition of what you said, I would have wanted a full episode of all of this, like a test dream from The Sopranos, like Tony in a dream. You are not my sausages, like an episode. I want them to go even more into this Daemon tripping stuff. I don't know. That's just me.
Bridge, what do you think?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm enjoying the pacing so far. Like Phil just mentioned, an entire standalone episode of Daemon. Like I probably would have dug that too. There you go. Now it's a 9 episode season.
Yeah.
I'll just side note, my friend Melina, who I haven't seen in the chat this year, I don't know if she's watching streams. She sent me I hate memes. I just don't like them. They annoy me for whatever reason. I'm biased against them. But she sent me one that was pretty funny. Or it's like a meme-ish type thing. It was like a Labrador retriever laying on his back, and he was just like hitting like a fence over and over like this. And then the meme-ish words said, Caraxes at Harrenhal. Caraxes is sitting there chilling. I thought that was pretty funny.
That's cool.
Yeah. All right. So let's just say they did that. Do you think that would have been more digestible? Because in Game of Thrones, we got a little magic, right? You got the White Walkers and you got a little Melisandre, but they didn't give you what we get in the books, right? The books, you get a lot more. You got Beric Dondarrion, right? You got people coming back to Leicester. They give you a little, not as much as the books. So you think it may have thrown off some people to see this Daemon stuff because they never really did flashbacks in Game of Thrones, which I think was wrong for them to do. I think they should have. Do you think this would have been more powerful? Say it was all these scenes, one episode for Daemon in Harrenhal. one episode. Do you think that would have been more digestible for people if you did one solid all the scenes that we see in Daemon, we gave him one episode of all that Harrenhal, then was done with it? You think that would have been better received if they did that? Real quick, Phil, let me give a shout out to the wine mom.
Oh, good to see Sarah.
Sarah Charles in the building.
Tony, that is an excellent question. And I think it's more of just a stylistic choice thing. I mean, I like bottle episodes, if that's what you call them, like an episode that just kind of expands on one thing through an entire episode. But that doesn't seem to be what this show does. And it hasn't really done that yet. Even when we were talking about Rook's Rest, and I came out here, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see a whole episode dedicated to a battle. And that's not what they did. They like to kind of bounce around here. Regular Game of Thrones did that more, where they sort of focused on one smaller section. This seems to like the bounce around feel. And I don't think either thing is right or wrong. But to answer your question more directly, do I think yes, because the people that didn't like it could just skip that episode instead of like someone feeling something else while they're watching it and then go, oh, this shit again. Like if it was all dedicated to one episode, maybe the people that don't like it would be easier for them to deal with it. But because I like it, every time it comes up, it's like a treat. It's like opening up a present on Christmas morning. It's like, oh my God, Daemon's back in Harrenhal tripping again, you know, because I feel like, I don't know about you guys, and I'm going to admit this, you don't have to. I've tripped before, and not every television show and movie depicts it in a good way or the proper way. The way they're doing it with Daemon, I know it's visions that he's having, rearward vision, but he's tripping out, and they're actually doing it really like faithfully to how it feels to be tripping, like where you're just like, what? Oh shit, you're right there. Like these moments that are happening, it's not, you know, you don't see the unicorn in front of you. You see your mother's head chopped off on the floor, rolling around when you look at a picture of her. So I appreciate what they're doing, and maybe it's personal because of my past, but I can't get enough of Daemon tripping.
What about you, Bridget? You think it'd be more digestible for people if it was all one episode of Daemon?
I guess I'll throw out the answer. Maybe yes. Like Phil said, some people could skip it. I was surprised. I don't even know where. I don't know. I somewhere heard, because I don't watch videos. I don't make videos, so I'm not reading comments. I don't know where this is, or you know what it was. It must have been like on one of the in one of the Game of Thrones like trailers or something like that. I read the comments probably quickly, and I saw people complaining about Daemon at Harrenhal, and like that thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Like I said, I think the show's nailing it so far. So for a brief couple seconds, I thought, oh wow, I guess they're spending too much time with Daemon there for some people. For me, it's perfect though. Like I said, if they had an extra, like they did everything they did so far, plus a whole nother standalone scene episode.
Oh, that would be great. Give me more of that. Yeah, give me a whole give me some webisodes where like what I want to like the Big Brother live feed. I want a live feed with Daemon, so you can just check in on him in every room and stuff, see what's going on with him.
And side note, I know we'll get to the actual details of the episode, but I just want to throw this out there. My view of Alys Rivers, you guys knew where I stand, or like where I stood mentally versus my hopes. That my hopes went away. They completely changed. So yeah, I have a very different view for now.
Let's go into the Harrenhal scene with Daemon. We'll talk about that real quick when Phil gets back. But yeah, I think that I like to me the best episode of Game of Thrones is Blackwater.
Okay,
and I think it's easy to see why it was the best episode, because it was all condensed in one spot. There was no jumping around. It shows you the feelings of the characters on both sides before the actual battle took place. You know, it had a really good battle at the end of it and everything that led up to that. But just the emotion of everybody sitting around, they're drinking, that, you know, and then all gets serious. You know, once that horn really starts to ring, now it's serious. Now your life is on the line and everything else. And especially when you had the stuff with Cersei and Sansa all held up in there, Kit and everything else. I thought that is what made that episode so great, and the greatest episode of all time in House of the Dragon, better than any episode of House of the Dragon or Game of Thrones right now. So I think that when you have an episode like that, that's what you get. That's what you can get. So not saying that Daemon and Harrenhal would be as exciting as that, because as the book readers know, we know where it ends up for Daemon at the end of this Harrenhal, and there's no big thing like Blackwater that's going to happen while he's there or anything else. So I don't think you get that, and because it's also a single character in there, and in Blackwater you had multiple characters. You had Sansa, you had Tyrion, you had Cersei, you had the Hound, you had Bronn, you had Stannis, you had Davos, you had You know, you had all these characters and everything else. So I think that was better. As for Phil with the tripping part, I've tripped before. I'll admit it. You know that I have done trips before. You know what I mean, and I understand the feeling of tripping. I didn't do it on a regular basis, but I have done it like 3 times in my life. It's a great experience. I ain't gonna lie about it. It's a great experience. You laugh like you've never laughed before. I'm not saying for anyone to go out there and do it at all. Please don't listen to me. I'm just saying I've done it and everything else and all that.
You may have eaten a mushroom cap here or there in your life.
Yeah, I've done it. I'm not gonna lie about it. I do. I did do. I'm proud of everything I've done as an experience. I remember Steve Jobs said before that he wished that Bill Gates tripped. He said because if he did, they would have been able to create much more things with it. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go into a whole tripping.
Yeah, we could do a whole show on this.
Yeah,
where we're talking about.
Else.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna talk about Daemon and Harrenhal right now. Now, I did a video last week, and people were like, "You told you stupid," and I said that Daemon was out here having sex with Emma, and everyone was like, "Oh no, Daemon would never do a thing like that. He had too much respect for his brother." And this is that. Well, and they said that's too far for Game of Thrones to have him sleeping with Rhaena, his daughter. If that was the case, they wouldn't do anything. Not counting on what we've seen at Caster's Keep, because we've seen Craster was sleeping with all of his daughters in there, so it would have been not much. It would have not been that much different. Though I was wrong, and I think it was a good guess from when I got in the trailer. No one would have guessed. No one could have guessed that it'd actually be his mother that he was sleeping with.
When you first saw her, they look so similar. I was like, oh my god, Tone's theory. They look the same. Man, yeah, she was a looker, but good. That's Alyssa, right? Alyssa,
yeah.
I kind of love her. She's awesome.
There was an argument, Tony. Just to that point, there was an argument, a debate in the chat in my after show about whether it was Viserys's wife or Daemon's mother, and I mean it eventually, it's Daemon's mom, but it's not. If he'll do that, he's gonna go after his brother's sister. It's not like if his inner desires. It was a crazy scene, and I thought it was really well effective done. I sang a ridiculous song because I was drunk about "Hey Daemon, hey mom," and because it was hot. I'm not gonna lie, like that aren't really mother and son.
Yeah,
that was a hot
but too much pussy eating for back in the day. They didn't eat pussy like that back in the day, bro.
Hey,
that wasn't a thing back
I'll
then.
accept it. That's the kind of thing I'll accept.
The chicks weren't clean shaven like that back in the day, bro. That's a new thing. You know what I mean?
Dude, I grew up in the 80s.
In the 60s, it was
Tony, I grew up in the 80s and the early 90s too.
Yeah, that shit was known as Bush, right? And this didn't change, and all of a sudden these people is over here going down there, and especially a time period where people didn't bathe every day. When it was looked down upon to bathe every day. I think that I understand why they did it, but I mean, you're gonna be realistic with it. I mean, I don't expect them to bring a Big Mac on the set, right? Why? Because it'd be unrealistic. If Daemon was over there holding a Whopper in his hand, you say, "Damn, Daemon, where'd you get that Whopper from?" But
I'm doing it my way.
Eating pussy, that's okay though. But he can't eat a Whopper, but he can eat pussy.
He's doing it his way at Burger King, Tony.
Bridge, how did you feel about this? You talked about it a little bit earlier.
Tony and I can't be serious about this. Bring some serious energy to this scene.
Yeah. About the all right. So obviously, I can't go into the dynamics of what it actually means. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean what it actually means, I think. But why do you think that was shown to him of his mother? Why did he get that specific vision of him having sex with his mother? Bridge, you have any reasoning behind that?
I mean, primary reason because she's hot, and I don't blame him.
I don't blame him either.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm pulling up the transcript. I only watched the episode one Sunday night, so I have to refresh myself as to what exactly was said. But very high level, I kind of have a different view than I think of Daemon than most people. Like, I don't think he told them to kill the son. I think he said do a son for son, and it was a mistake. And so things like that, a lot of this stuff, he's having a lot of guilt right now, and he's like, yeah, he wants to rule. He's pretending as if he wants to rule and whatnot. I'm hoping for a turn where he's got Rhaenyra's back. I'm expecting that. That's even though it seems like he's not going that direction.
I think he does the turn at the God's eyes is the final turn for him, right? That's when he'll do the turn. I think he does that turn there.
I'm expecting something in the near term.
In the near term,
Yeah,
I think she knows him, and she said it straight up. You know what I mean? And I think that some of these visions are his innermost thoughts coming to life. Like it's what he truly feels on the inside, and they're showing it to him. You know, like a magic mirror on the wall, showing you exactly what you truly feel on the inside. Now, listen, nobody want the inside thoughts put out there in public because you can't tell sometimes what goes through your mind and shit like that. Miss Duncan the Tall says Oedipus complex,
wanting to kill your dad and fuck your mom.
Yeah,
I mean, that would make sense. I mean, essentially that his father, I mean, he was the second son, so he has some sort of subconscious blaming his parents on him being born second and not being the king he should be, and therefore he's fucking his mother by punishing his father and also pleasing his parents in a way he was never able to do. That's the internal reason, probably.
Yeah, we'll start taking calls. Just give us like 15 more minutes of dialogue. And after that, we'll start taking calls. All right. So just wait 15 minutes. Whoever just called in, call back 15 minutes. We'll take a call. I'm sorry I had to hang up on you, but I'm trying to just get a little thing going on here. Be real quick between us before we start taking calls. Yeah, but Edis pussy or whatever. I do believe that is exactly what it is. It's not that you want to have sex with your mother.
Tony, I love that you just like came up with a porn name for Oedipus Rex, Oedipus Rex. You know, I've seen that movie. You got that?
So put it in the chat.
Oh, okay. I'm giving you credit for that. Though.
Yeah, no. I'm not one of those guys. I'm one of those guys that's happened to. So I put it up on the screen. Who put it up in the chat? I'm sorry, right now.
Good wordplay.
So I just looked at the transcript as to what they said, and it's pretty short actually. It's So we have Daemon. You were always the strong one, the finest swordsman, the fearless dragon rider. Your brother had great love in his heart, heavy breathing in parentheses, but he lacked your constitution. Viserys was unsuited for the crown, but you, Daemon, you were made to wear it. If only you'd been born first. My favorite son. So I think, so two things. First, I'll say in terms of Daemon, like I think he's wrestling with the fact that like these desires to have the power and whatnot and to be separate from Rhaenyra versus being loyal to Rhaenyra. I think that's one aspect of it. I also think from a storytelling perspective, there's a nice parallel structure dealing with like Aemond and Aegon, and Aemond having those kind of feelings about Aegon. Not Aegon being a good guy, but how Aemond feels like he's better fit for the crown than Aegon.
But the difference between Daemon and Aegon is that Daemon actually cared about his brother and would never try to usurp the throne from him. And that we know of. We don't know. I don't think he would do it. I don't know if he had the same chance. I don't think he's ever been out there riding in the battle because under his, with his brother and everything else, has all been peace. So I don't know if he had the chance, would he have pulled something like that off or anything else? And also, Daemon always believed he was the heir, like the whole time until Alicent came in there, he was there.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think if Viserys had made Daemon his hand, this would have solved any of the problems? Like if he gave him even a little bit more power and credit, would that have been enough for Daemon to have him fully sort of not feel quite this way? Or is he always going to kind of feel this way about and I agree. I don't think he ever really wanted to be king. And I think now to Bridges' point about how I think he's just going to go back with Rhaenyra, he's talking. He's like a cock, like the cock, like he just has to gobble a lot. Like, I'm the king. No, she's the queen. Who's married to the queen? The king. So you can just drop the coin sword. I'm the goddamn king. Like, he just wants to, like, if you cater to his ego the right way, that's enough to him. I guess that's what I'm saying. I think Viserys could have played him a little bit better and made him feel even more important. Like you're my co-king. Just don't tell anybody, buddy. You and me are co-kings. Just talk to him. It's.
I don't know if Daemon would accept. I think he's the type of guy you give him an inch, he takes a yard.
Fair, very fair.
If you put him that close to it, and he really gets that power. Because look what he did with the gold cloaks. I mean, he made him the captain of the city watch. Was a very important position, and Daemon did good with him. But he just let those guys go off and just go crazy in the realm.
Yeah,
I just don't think he had the demeanor to be king.
You're probably right. I mean, he always want more.
I'm on the same page as Girl Nettles. Daemon had the popular vote when he won the war in the Stepstones. That he came back, bent the knee, gave his crown. Like he truly loved his brother. Even if I think he thought he'd be a better king, but he still had his brother's back.
Yeah. I don't think that the war in the Stepstones, the people of Westeros would have backed him. Let's say he went to war with his brother and said, "I won this, blah blah. I'm going to, I'm going to take over the Seven Kingdoms now because I won." I don't think he would have the people's. I don't think he has the people's back enough to support him to do that. In the end, I don't think he would have had that support. I think he bent his knee and dropped that crown because he knew the writing was on the wall. That people who did support him and did give him that it wasn't going to end well for him if he would have just kept that. I think if there was more of a people, he would have actually maybe took the shot and stuff. All right, let's take this call. Even though I said wait, they keep going. The anxious. Let's listen to it. Let's listen.
Call from
Sharif Targaryen.
To accept.
What's going on? You're rocking with the Don Tony Teflon. Fill the issues guy. Bridge for usual suspect. What's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going, brother? My brother.
Going on. It's going. Having a good time, man. What's on your mind?
Man, I'm listening to the discussion that you guys are having, and I think one thing that is missing here is that the origins of Alys, right? Rivers.
Yeah.
I think what is happening is her effect and then Daemon's thoughts. And let's break down Alys a bit. She's probably her speeches really told us where she's from, right? She's north of north, because on the map, when you have Ygritte, who speaks Irish as well, that's north of north. And so now that we know where she's from due to her language and speech, now we know what she's trying to protect, right? She's trying to protect with the children of the forest's interests, and that's what I think is really missing here. And so the Andals, you can basically say that they're today's Targaryens, and she's not about to let no human beings really come and mess up the map. And so it really doesn't matter if she's for Aegon or for Daemon. I just think that there's a natural defense to where they push the knife into the first man to make the Night King. This is the same thing. We can't let the humans destroy this map. And I really don't, being Alys Rivers, I really don't have no allegiance to no one. I don't know you guys' thoughts on that.
All right. Well, we will answer the question. They can't hear you. They can't respond back and forth. You won't be able to hear them.
I'll go back into the comments.
All right, my brother. Thank you for the call. We'll talk.
Take care.
Peace out. All right, let's talk a little bit about Alys. He says that he believes that she's from the north because she has the same accent as Ygritte, which is true. Ygritte was a special type of accent that she had. Ygritte, you ain't fuck a bear. You ain't never fuck a bear.
Don't so.
And everything else. All right, so let's go through it real quick. It would make sense. She's definitely about the old gods and the old gods' ways and everything else. You said, Bridget, that you changed your mind on Alys. What does that change?
Well, so I had done an analysis, read it over and over and over, everything I could find, trying to figure out if I thought she was Melisandre, and I came to the conclusion that she wasn't. Yeah, I hoped that she was. I really hoped that she was. I hoped I was wrong. I no longer hope that. I find her to be a much more compelling character if she's not Melisandre. If it turns out that she is, I think that'll be freaking gnarly too. I find it much more compelling if she's her own original character, possibly even like the Ghost of Highheart, but not Melisandre. As far as what her motivations are, like this is I don't know. But I think earlier when we were speaking about Daemon having these visions, there's sort of two takeaways for me. The one, and he alluded to one of them kind of, but then he got into the North stuff. The first takeaway is just that I think that Daemon is having a quote unquote healthy discussion with himself about his doubts, his insecurities, he's having these conversations at least, right? Mm-hmm. Now you have to it begs the question or raise the question. Is it just him and the weirwood, or is it him, the weirwood, and Alys? And is she trying to manipulate him? And if so, what is her intentions, right? And I do think that's a high probability that she's trying to manipulate him.
We've seen it one time in all of the books. And the only time we've seen that happen that we know of that's point blank that this is what's is happening is when we seen Euron in the Damp Air's vision, right? And he came as somebody else in his dream, and then the stuff fell away, the worms fell away from his face, and then you were able to see that he was able to see that it was actually Euron in his dream, right? And he gave him the shade of the evening drink to make him more susceptible. But Euron doesn't have the same power the children of the forest of them. He has a glass candle, and everything. So that is why he's able to do that. And we're gonna take a call one second after discussion is over. All right. So I don't know if she has a glass candle or these other children. Only way she could be doing it is if she had a glass candle.
Yeah.
Unless she is what she claims, I'm a barn owl. We have never seen a reverse warg, right? An animal warg into a human body from this show that we've seen, our skin changer, and lived their life in there. Now we've seen humans go into second lives and go into animals and live their second life out, but we've never seen the reverse happen. So she's a really puzzling person while saying that and everything. What do you got to say, Phil?
Wait, I missed the line you said there. This is important. You're talking about an animal working into spending a second life inside of a human. What I missed the line before that. What's the theory?
What are you talking
is that the Alys is actually an
Alys?
animal?
She when they asked what she was, she said
she's a barn owl.
She said she's a barn owl.
Oh, okay.
I think she's just eccentric and she's screwing with people. I mean,
no, I think that could be her playing a little like maybe she can skin change it to a barn owl.
Perhaps.
I don't think she is a barn owl. That would be so funny.
Yeah,
that'd be amazing.
Motherfucking sheep.
She's woodsy. Yeah, she's woodsy.
And this barn owl's like, yo, this Daemon dude, I'm gonna mess with Daemon.
There'd be rabbits in there, be like, why this dude fucking so much? I'm in a rabbit. I get down.
Off and around. I don't think she's inceptioning him. I think she just knows what's going on because she can sort of read it around, and she's just inquisitive and understands like the visions that are happening, and she kind of just understands people. I'm not sure if she's inceptioning him, if she's like actually jumping in the dreams, or just is kind of being a spirit guide a little bit with him, knowing exactly what's going on. I do think she is fucking with him a little bit. She reminds me a little bit of the performance, reminds me a little bit of something like Helen Bonham Carter would do, and something like she's like really weird. Like I can almost see this actress playing that character in the new Harry Potter series that's coming on HBO. Like she can play that kind of energy, but I think she's just in line with what's going on, and she's just sort of having fun fucking with him a little bit. At least that's the vibe I get, instead of her actually being in the dreams.
I would think that it would have to be a little more than just her playing with him. It has to have a meaning in the end.
Yeah,
like it has to have a deep.
I hope so. I mean, I hope it does.
In there, like somehow. Now we know what happens to her. We read the books. We know what happens to her, and everything else. You think that if she was trying to get this man in the bed, I don't think it would be that. Daemon doesn't seem like a guy that you really have to flirt with that much to get him to have sex with you.
No, you just need to present.
But you ain't got to go through all that. Like I got to wind up in your dreams for you to see it. It's just like, you just got to get naked in front of him, and Daemon's ready to go.
I feel like she kind of tried this episode though, because she like all of a sudden she's like, "So you came here having problems with your wife, huh?" Like if I had a wife and someone said that to me, like I don't know, I feel like
Bridget, you know what that means.
Yeah.
Let's go. This is a very interesting. And Alys is not there. No one else interacts with her or even looks at her. But she's not a ghost. She's She's astral projecting.
Huh.
All right.
Interesting.
So earlier, Girl Nettles had said maybe goes to Higher Heart, but also Quaithe. They're thinking maybe Quaithe is astral projecting.
That Quaithe has astral projected herself into Dany's dreams,
and like that might Girl Nettles I think earlier said that maybe Alys is Quaithe.
That Alys.
Sorry to distract, but yeah, astral projecting.
I mean. I could see it. I 100% see the fact that no one else has said a thing to her. All right. I 100% picked up on that. No one has actually said, "Hey, you girl, grab this," while she's standing in the background or anything else. And so it could be an astral projection. That wouldn't shock me. But we know that eventually she does wind up there. Like she's actually there.
Yeah, right.
We know that for a fact. So we know that she will be there. If not, you know what I mean? But she could do be doing the astral projection. And Quaithe did project herself to Dany, but Quaithe is also believed to have a glass candle also, right? Because she is the one who says to Dany, the glass candles are burning, right? So she's projected to have a glass candle, 3 glass candles. Marwyn the mage, Quaithe, and Euron that we know of that have glass candles. Marwyn doesn't know how to light his. Quaithe may, and Euron somehow figured out how to do it, right?
I think
dealing with the glass.
I think Marwyn's is now burning in the very end of Feast for Crows.
And then it starts burning, right?
Yeah, I think so. Which is wild. I don't quote me on that, but which is wild. If you think all of a sudden it just lights up and it's on fire, like it came to. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people, if you just here for House of Dragon, you don't understand what the glass candle thing is. It's hard to explain. Not really, but it's hard to explain real quick. So we'll try to stay away from that a little bit and everything else. All right, if you want to call in, 518-290-0848. We are done talking about the Alys Rivers stuff, so now you can call in for a different topic. 518-290-0848 is the number to call in. Hope to hear from you. If I hung up on you before, just call right back. I'm sorry, but we were in the middle of discussion and stuff. That's the only reason why. You could definitely call. All right, Phil, what should we talk about? You're about to recap the means.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what else to talk about. What else? Okay, Alicent in losing power. Alicent trying to go to both of her sexual dynamic people that she'd been selling the feet pics. Maybe if she was giving more feet pics up at this point, this was the example of Larry. So we'll talk about that in a second. But all right, I want to talk about Alicent.
This is 240.
Call from
Hypernuts.
to accept, press 1.
What's going on? You're rocking with the Don Tony Teflon. Phil the Issues guy. Bridge Fizzer 4. Usual suspects. Who we speaking to?
Hypernuts.
Hypernuts. What's going on, man?
I just want to say first, say hi to Tony, Bridge, and Phil.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Question. So this was talked about a lot in Game of Thrones, and it's being shown in House of the Dragon. The necklace that Rhaenyra wears, not the one that Daemon gave to her, but she's worn it in the past 3 or 4 episodes. It's like, it looks like dragon glass, or it looks like a dragon scale. And it's the same thing, I believe, that the Night King wears at Hardhome. And it's the same like layout that he put the, I believe it was the Night's Watchman after he killed them. Are we going to find out what that true origin of that is? Or is it just a dragon scale or a dragon glass?
All right. In order for them to answer, and you won't be able to
sir,
hear
I
them,
understand.
I'll have to hang up on
I
you,
got
my
you.
friend. But
sir.
we will discuss that right now. Thank you for the call. All right. This necklace, did you pick this up, Bridge? That it's the same as the Night King?
Sorry, no, I didn't know the Night King wore a necklace. I didn't realize he was in a jewelry. I'm talking about like that sort of emblem thing on, I think, on his chest, like we're in.
Yeah, the emblems. I guess it would be that emblem. Looks kind of like a keyhole with a point. I didn't see it. I would have to look at it and see it.
And he's saying it's on whose necklace? Rhaenyra's necklace?
Yeah, Rhaenyra. Now, I've always been accustomed, and I've said it from the beginning, that the White Walkers are Targaryens. From the original Night King. Now, listen, doesn't go with the books. It doesn't jive right in the books. Obviously, the original Night King that we see in the books is a Stark, right? That's what it seems like, that he's definitely a Stark. He meets the Night Queen, because we know we see the Night Queen before we see the Night King, right? And the original Night King that we seen is definitely, he's not a White Walker. The only White Walker that we see is the Night Queen. And then we see her change this man over, and he called himself the Night King because she was his queen and they were the king of the night. So it could be that the original, when you go before him, when the Children of the Forest first created the White Walkers, that they could have used a Valyrian for that. They could have captured a Valyrian, stuck him up against a tree or something like that, if you want to go about the show and everything else. That it's quite possible, because the White Walkers in the books are described as angelic looking beings. George has said that they're elfish, they're beautiful, and everything else, not the way they're depicted in the show at all, which is basically what they say about the Valyrians. So it's quite possible that there could be some Valyrian connection there with the Night King and the White Walkers from the beginning of time, if you want to go into that. situation, but I never picked it up. I don't know if I don't have a picture of it or
I'm
anything.
looking right now. I can't find a good shot of Rhaenyra's necklace.
Look up the shot of him at Hardhome with his hands up in the air.
I have him. It's her. I'll pull it up in a second.
Oh, her. Gotcha.
I'm having trouble finding one of her in that thing.
Oh yeah, I didn't look that up either. Rhaenyra season 2 necklace.
Yeah, we'd have to go ahead. I need to see it and everything else. Maybe Alys is the 3-eyed raven. I think that. All right. So again, I will say it, and I've said it before. There's only one last green seer, and he is the last green seer. Anyone else that goes up there is a 100% body snatched by this last green seer, and he's just living out their life in their body, kind of like I would explain. If you ever seen the show, I just said Skeleton Key. If you could watch that, I think that's what's going on there and everything else. So maybe it is him in her body, and she's projecting herself from the tree. I would not deny that, but the fact that we know from reading the books that she has physical touching with people later on, that there has to be eventually a physical form of her, if that isn't the case. So we have the Night King symbol, and it looks like a keyhole there. But while Phil tries to find another picture, I'm going to talk a little bit more about Alicent losing power. I think that this is what happens when you don't give up the fiducie, right? She didn't give Loras the fiducie in a while, right? She should have gave up the fiducie. Yep. When you don't give up the fiducie, and people, y'all know what fiducie means, the foot pussy, all right? If you don't give that up to Loras, you know that he is not going to back you and everything. And she should have seen it from the jump that this guy was just what it was with him. As for her lover, Kristen Cole, I can't believe that she would ever think that that would be effective. That he would have backed him. I think that was an obvious play that he's going to back the son over her. What do you think about that, Bridge?
I think it put him in a precarious situation. Like I in that moment, I mean, of course, knowing the story versus watching the show, I still didn't quite know what he was going to say to her, how he was going to respond. So I like that scene, but because he's obsessed with her. He really does love her, but he's also obsessed with
Bridge.
Well, I mean, in his own way, like he's a madman. You know what I mean? But I think his love for her is almost like he doesn't realize this, but it's almost his hatred for Rhaenyra. And he's just like, he's satisfying himself through hooking up with her childhood friend.
Yeah. And I also think, Tony, I don't think she really thought that Crispy was going to support her in that situation. I think it was the foot guy that really bothered. It was Larys that really bothered her. Like she thought she put in enough work with Larys that he would support her in any situation. And I think she turned to Crispy in desperation, like being like, "Oh God, no, maybe he'll back me." But I think considering how it ended between them and knowing how he is, I don't think she truly believed that Crispy would be on her side. But I think the foot thing was like, she was like, "Oh, I shouldn't have refused him last time." And what was interesting is we saw that 2 episodes ago when he came into the room and he's like, "Can we play?" And she said no. And we see the direct fallout for that. He just turned to her and said no. He gave her like the same look she gave him about when he asked her for the foot stuff. I thought that was a good completion of that sort of fetish.
Yeah, listen, you got to give up the fiducie. That was your one hold on this guy, right? The one hold, and you didn't give the hold up. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You know, now he is basically like Rhaenyra did to him and stuff.
And real quick, Tone, can you highlight Big Bank's comment? I think that's good.
Hey, Tony, it's April. To accept, press 1. To send.
What's going on? You're rocking with the Don Tony Teflon Field Issues guy, Bridge Fizzer 4. Usual suspects. Who we talking to?
Hi, this is April.
What's going on, April?
Tony. First, I wanted to say really quickly, I love your coverage on the show from. It's one of my other favorites.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can't wait to continue the coverage on From.
Yeah, right. So, Hot Tea is definitely the pinnacle for me. By the way, was it Phil or Moash that I linked in the YouTube an Etsy picture with Rhaenyra wearing that necklace. kind of similar. But anyways, my question is, how do you guys think fans would react if they did not have Rhaena ever claim a dragon? And if not, like Sheep Stealer, where, you know, Nettles claims her from book canon, what would be an alternative to Rhaena's story arc?
All right. So basically, you think that Rhaena should get, if they put Rhaena story and merged it with Nettles?
Yeah. What if they didn't do that? What would Rhaena's, like, what would the fans, how do you think people would react if Rhaena never got to claim a dragon?
Yeah, if they just did what the book said and didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
All right.
All
right. We will answer that question for you. Thank you for the call.
Thanks. You got it. Thanks so much.
Have a good one.
You too.
Stay sexy. All right. What do you think, Bridget?
I mean, these type topics, I don't know, everyone calls in, like, we're a non-spoiler stream, right?
We're trying. We're trying,
but, you know,
I'm trying to play
dance
ignorance
around it, Bridget. Dance around.
I'll dance around it. So
Tap
number one, we are going to see Nettles tonight, and I refuse to believe that she's not in the show. So I don't know if we're going to see her tonight. I'm saying, but I'm hoping to see Nettles tonight. And number two, Rhaena's no, let me just say this. There are a lot of dragons in this show. One of the dragons has a really interesting name. It begins with an M. It has a dual meaning. So that's it. I don't know. I just feel like it's very important. I think they're going to follow the books. I think they should.
I think without getting into spoilers, without getting into what I do know, what I don't know, I would be very disappointed if they combine those characters and they aren't separate characters. But I think we've said that, we've talked about that a lot. So if they don't do that, I would just like to see them continue to do what they're doing with the character and stuff like that, and go in some interesting places, because not everyone in this story, to be an interesting character, has to have a dragon. So I would just like to see them be creative with it and think of some interesting ways to make the character matter that doesn't have to do with just them bonding with a dragon. So, and I know it's House of the Dragon, and I know all that stuff, but don't do the simple thing, which is to say, hey, let's combine these two characters for whatever reason, and we'll combine these two characters because, you know, let's do that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Everyone fucking knows why you're going to do that. But don't do that. Come up with creative storylines for both damn characters. It's not too hard.
It really isn't. And if you follow the books, I think you just follow the books and you'll get what you, I mean, I understand why you have to change it a little bit when you deal with people like Rhaenyra, who really doesn't do anything in the books, right? Because she's still suffering from the pregnancy and everything. So she's not really flying around doing anything like that. So I understand you want to make her a little bit more action and put her in there and stuff like that. But to not cast Nettles is a disservice to the show. You have to have Nettles. And I understand some people's thinking like, all right, they made the Valyrian. What made Nettles special was that she was black. I know people think, not me, but people say what made Nettles special is that she was a black woman who was able to ride on the dragon and everything else. And now that we have the Valyrians here and they're black, that we don't need Nettles as much because of that. To me, I say that's blasphemy. Yeah. We still need Nettles because Nettles shows that you don't have to have this bloodline to claim this dragon. That is her importance when it comes to dragon riding and everything else, you know. So I think we have to have, I don't want to have the shittiest looking dragon, the ugliest looking dragon either. That better be a sexy brown like mine. All right, that's what I'm looking for. You gotta have a sexy brown dragon like myself here and everything. I don't want to have the shitty ass dragon and all that stuff. So I am the stuff with Daemon is up in the air. Like you can't. Some people say it is, some people it wasn't. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get into details on it. So I would think you would have to do it the way it's supposed to be done, and this combining the characters. They've done it in Game of Thrones. We've seen it, right? Jorah Mormont gets
Loras Tyrell kind of.
Loras Tyrell, yeah. Jorah Mormont with the grayscale and everything else. They gave that, you know, all these things we've seen them combine. Euron and Victorian character combined. So it's not like they haven't done it and everything else. We've seen that go down. So it wouldn't be far stretched to see them do something like that. But I do think it would be a disservice if they did do something like that. I don't think it works in this situation with them and everything. So I hope that they don't do that and everything else. and everything else. What are we talking about? We're still talking about the downfall of Alicent.
Yeah, and I thought it was well played by her, because this is just an acting note. She plays not having to say anything so well with those damn eyes, and the way they shot that scene where they didn't focus on once she lost Crispy and Clubfoot. They kind of just focused the camera on her, and she couldn't do anything, and they were like slowly panning it out a little bit and showing her losing power. It was just such a well shot scene, and she played it so well. And to your point about Rhaenyra, Tony, same thing with Alicent. Like, she doesn't have much to do in the story, so they have to create like character moments for her, and I don't mind that stuff either. And yeah, I thought it was a really, they're doing some interesting things with her character, realizing the weight of what she caused with the knife and the dinner and freaking out and bringing that intensity, bringing that rage in there. It started an inferno that she can't control because now Aemond's in charge. And what are you going to do?
You have no say. You have no say. And she has to feel slightly responsible that she told her son, even though she gave him the correct advice, she gave him the Dr. Phil. Sit your ass and do nothing.
Well, don't do
anything. She gave him that, but it went the reverse way with her. This time it didn't work. Dr. Phil method didn't work. At that time is when she should have been a more loving mother and just been like, listen, just sit back, blah, blah, and did that. But she went old Dr. Phil on this dude and it reversed the cause, and now her son is burnt up. And she know Aemond. I mean, she came right back and was like, what Aemond have to do with this?
Yeah, what did Aemond do? Yeah.
Like, she knew that Aemond.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
We didn't, when we talked about that episode, we didn't talk about that scene, but like you said, like her words are one thing, but it was her choice of delivery, the way she said it, like she was really bitchy. Like, that's a mom, she's supposed to love her child. My mother would never speak to me with that tone of voice and stuff. It was weird.
Yeah, it depends if your mom is black, yo.
or it's like with Crispy,
Jewish moms too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was gonna say, my mom definitely talked to me that way. The Crispy of it all, with him deciding to support Aemond and not mention what happened, I believe that too. Crispy's a simpleton or whatever. We can babble about Crispy, but I believe that he would think the rationale that, yeah, I don't care right now. The dude with the biggest dragon should be in charge right now. From what he saw, they did that well with him. He plays a good douchebag. The scene when they went silent with him and he saw the power of the dragons. Like, it makes sense that right now he'd be like, yeah, we got to kind of go with the psycho with one eye and the giant killer dragon. That he should probably be in charge.
And he's. The bottom line is that if you don't side with Aemond and it looks like Aemond's taking over, whether you say something or not, you're getting fired.
Yeah, you're Vagar meat. You're freaking Vagar meat.
Yeah, you're going to get fired. You're going to say, you know what? You didn't support me. I'm in control. I need to do the hand of the king. You're going. And that's it. So he really doesn't have a choice to do it. You know what I mean? And the way that he and he didn't have a choice. He seen dude was about to kill his brother. What do you think he's gonna do to you? You know, and thank you so much, IZ, bro. Appreciate you so much. And all of our sister podcasts on Direwolf City. You know, what is he gonna do? He really isn't like, he's like, yes, I'm sleeping with her. Yes, but I can't. That's not gonna go away though.
Vagar.
It's not like she's gonna say no. She's already said no to him 50 times and he still hit it. So he's like, you know, I gotta keep my job here. I gotta keep my job, and that's it. So he has no choice but to side with Aemond and stuff. What do you think about? This is the. I don't think if Aemond was king from birth that he would act the way he acts now. I think there's some things he says right off the back is good, but the other shit is stupid. You know, like, oh, cut down these damn rat cats. 100%. The rat cats, cut them down. That's a great call. That should have been the call. But the second call, what was the second call he made? I know it wasn't a smart call. The next thing he said something right after that, and that wasn't the call to make. Like, so he made a good call and then makes a bad call. And he's the type of king that you really can't counsel, I don't think. Yeah. So I don't know if he's a good king. What do you think, Aemond as king?
I think he's a smooth operator. That's for sure. He's skilled. I would never bend the knee to him. I would end up dying. But I think he's skilled in that room. He sits back, waits for his moment, and then when he seizes it and starts talking, he's totally in control, which surprises me. I didn't expect that from his character.
Yeah. All right, we got Scott from Greywater Watch calling in the show. What's going on, Scott?
Oh, not much, guys. Great stream as usual. I just wanted to get y'all's thoughts on Helena, because that's not from Fire and Blood, and wanted to see where y'all thought her character should go. And yeah, I'll just hang up and listen.
All right, thank you so much.
I think it's awesome where and this kind of ties into what we're talking about with Aemond a little bit, because she's kind of like, was it worth it to him at one point? And I do think, to your question you asked, Tony, about Aemond, and I think they're doing great jobs. I wish we got more of her, but it's just enough to be good to learn more about her. But with Aemond being king, if he just became king, would he have been a better person, not be like this, not have this gear? I think, at least in the show, the way they're playing it is that the situation with Luke happened, which was a little bit of an accident. And people, it's like that thing at school that happens that everyone talks like, oh, did you hear that guy? That guy punched a cop and, ran across the street. And you hear the story and it wasn't really like that. But the crazy person plays into it. Like 10 Things I Hate About You. Heath Ledger's character does that. He's like, oh yeah, I just kind of went with the story. So people are scared of you. And I think Aemond is kind of using what happened with Luke to be like, I'm fucking crazy. So if that never happens,
and he's Tupac in it.
He is a little bit. He is. He's doing a little bit of the, buzzing around. And, I got shot 5 times. Motherfuckers. Like a little bit like that.
Yeah. Who is this call? Let me see.
Call from.
Oh, I hurt myself there.
Hello?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press.
KP, 1 second. We're going to finish this thought, then I'll get right to you, okay?
I muted KP for now. He'll be on.
Yeah. So Bridge, did you think that Aemond would have been a better king if he grew? There's a thing growing into the role, right? From when you're growing into what he is right now. Do you think he'd have been better if he was younger, like been a better king than his brother ended up doing?
I mean, there's so many what if. It's hard to really imagine. I guess what I'll just say is I don't think he's good for the role. I mean, a couple days ago, we just saw him in the fetal position at a whorehouse. The dude's got issues. He shouldn't be ruling the most powerful person in the kingdom. That's for sure. He shouldn't be on the most powerful dragon in the world. That's for sure. Real quick though, we had mentioned Helena. How much at first when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, she knows. I don't think she actually knows, but yeah, she's like, was it worth the price? Like, do you think she actually had a vision of like what happened? Does she know that he went after him? He shot the fire at his brother? Yeah, I don't think that.
Do you like the way they took Helena's character? Do you like what they're doing with Helena's character?
Oh yeah. I mean, she's one of my favorite characters. One of the only people in this story that I actually like, at least in the royal family. And then the poor Aegon, I think he was like, Mummy.
Mummy, yeah. Mummy.
Yeah, neither of them were ever fit to rule. Their parents forced them into this life. It sucks.
Yeah. I think Aemond's problem is his mother didn't love him the way she should have loved him, and I think he would have been a better kid if he did. I think that's why he goes to the whorehouse, because he just wants to cuddle with his mom, not the same way that Daemon is cuddling with his mom in his dream, but a situation like that. Everything's parallel with them. If you look at it, it's all parallel to those two. As for Helena's character, getting back to Scott's question, I think they did a brilliant job with it. I think that they're handling someone being autistic and them not knowing what autism is, how people who are autistic, are smarter than people give them credit for, and they just don't know how to interpret what they're saying. I think they did a great job with that. I think she is. They haven't come out and said she's on the spectrum, but there's no term for being on the spectrum back then. Like they wouldn't know that. But I think that they've done that masterfully with her playing with the bugs and all the things and all that stuff and all that good stuff. So I think they've done a great job with her, and I appreciate everything that you did. Bridge 4 disconnected.
Yeah, Bridge disagrees, I guess. No.
KP came in here. All right, KP, let's go, baby.
Did he hang up?
KP.
You there, KP?
You didn't hang up. He's here.
Hello.
Yeah, what's going on?
Sorry.
That's
I was I had you guys on mute while I was listening to you
It's all
talk.
good.
Ramble on like old men.
Oh, KP.
Who are you talking about?
KP's talking about
on,
rambling, KP.
Who's talking about
rambling? Cody, who's talking about rambling?
Got him.
Talk about rambling.
I deserve that.
This
I deserve that.
I deserve about rambling. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Kettle and pot. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, I deserve that.
You're asking
I mean, listen, as it has been for the last 5 Sundays, this being the 6th one, I'm extremely excited to see what happens to my realm in Westeros. I'm very happy to see you guys still, looking with that gorgeous Mina here, looking as sexy as ever. Tony looking like that guy, and Bridgeford is clearly the lady magnet, and I don't know why he likes to downplay his powers. It's unfortunate, but that it's all part of the allure. Anyways, back to House of the Dragon. Daemon. Gray Area has a video out that tickled my intellect in several ways. And I love when Gray tickles me.
I'm sure.
Hey now, wait.
But the whole thing was, it's very possible that like 70, 80, 90% of what we're seeing Daemon goes through in Harrenhal is all part of one long-running fever dream or werewolf dream or whatever you want to call it. And he's like going through these paces and he's like realizing things about himself. And at some point, he gets out of the dream, and that having had the dream and having had certain revelations become obvious to him, that is what leads him to react the way he does to what the message Rhaena sends to him, and then take the further action that he does that essentially brings things almost to a close. That's a very interesting theory, and I would like to hear you guys discuss that a little bit because in one of my favorite shows, Sixth Sense, they did a thing where in every scene where you saw something red, you knew that was you knew that was the hallucination or the sleep scene or whatever it may be, and scenes that didn't have red stuff, like that was real life. Or it could be the other way around.
Well,
but
that wasn't exactly it. It just everything that you seen was red meant there was a ghost in the scene. It was all reality.
Right.
There was a ghost in the scene.
The point being, there was what you were seeing was not exactly what was happening. And they put something in the frame to kind of let you know, obviously not on the first watch, but on your third or fourth watch, you kind of realize that, every time I see something red, that's when a ghost is there. And she was saying that the indicator of that in this situation is anytime you see light coming in from under Daemon's door, or light coming in from under a door, that's a dream. So I'd like you guys to comment on that. Like, how much of what Daemon is seeing is a dream, and how much of what he's seeing is his real life reactions? Because I find it really hard to believe that the Aemond Targaryen that I know, from the Rogue Prince and the Princess and the Queen, I find it very hard to believe that that man is actually setting up a rival court to his wife and queen. Because, you know, that was, if of all these things that he did in the book, that one thing was never in question. Even when, at a particular point in time, you know, people would give him all right to like question that and to like, you know, to go left against that. Even at that point, he didn't.
All right.
So that's one thing. Then and then I have just a second part to it.
Second part.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You wasn't lying.
Wasn't that 7 parts?
I'm going to play drums again. I'll be back.
You're lying. We all go there. We speak the truth. We speak the truth every time we come to the booth. You know what I mean? But yeah, so the other part is Rhaena, the woman.
So guys, I just wanted to pause KP for let's think he can think he's talking, but his microphone sounds better today though. Like whatever he's talking on does sound better. So let's get back to KP. Sorry.
But to me, that scene in the Eyrie was very, very eerie. You see what I did there?
I did.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, Kate, I'm not going to be able to remember all this.
No, part two, Tony. Part two.
Let me summarize. Daemon dreams, is it all just one big long running dream?
Okay.
Or are some of these things that we think is real dreams, or is it like 90? And then the second one is Rhaena in the Eyrie. We saw this very intense scene. What do we think Rhaena is going to accomplish, or what do you think Rhaena's role is going to be in this episode and next, with respect to Eyrie? So those are the two questions. So Phil, loving to hear. Bridge isn't there anymore. Tony, I'll probably call back later. But
talking so long, he came back.
Answer my question. I'm listening to y'all. Love ya.
Peace out.
Love you too, KP. I'm being silly. I love you, KP.
That was 11 minutes and 22 seconds. All right. Let's get love KP. KP's
no, we love you, KP. I'm being a douchebag. So I love you, KP.
Well, you know, I don't give anyone else that much time as a kid. And this motherfucker got the dirt talking about us rambling like old men.
Yeah, that's how he started it, right?
That's how he started the whole conversation. He goes 7 minutes and he goes, well, now part 2.
Oh my god.
All right, let's
this is people in the live chat when KP calls in.
We're gonna, as Scott of Greywater watch up, we're gonna use the Jeopardy theme next time he calls in there, and we're gonna give him the Jeopardy theme music. We're gonna give him.
I have it. I'll play. I almost started when Anna gave him a 1 minute clock. I was gonna put on the Jeopardy theme.
We gotta put that in. All right, what did he say? So she's saying that anytime we see light under the door, gray areas theory, that means that it's a dream. Quite possibly. I didn't myself pick up on it. I would have to look. I can't say that it's not. Can't say that it is. It does make sense. I think what they're trying to do is make it indistinguishable, right? Like when he's on the council, sitting there at the council, and he starts seeing stuff, that's reality, but he's still tripping.
Yeah.
Right. He's still like the effects have gone into both. Like when he's looking over and seeing visions of his wife standing next to him, but he's at the council table, the people say, like, yo, you good, bro? And he snaps it back like, wait a second. Like he's still seeing shit. So I think it's hard to say if there's two different time spots. I think it's obviously when he's sleeping, he's getting them. But when he wakes up, he should have never drank that blood. The motherfucker didn't want to eat carrots, but he was willing to drink a cup of blood. Like, I don't understand that. To me, that's kind of crazy. What up to my shorty out in there? My girl smoking harness in the building, shaking them hips on a hula hoop. The best I've ever seen do it. The best I've ever seen do it. 100%. Phil and Bridget, what do you think about KP's and Gray's theory? And everyone, if you haven't seen that video, which I'm sure a lot of you have, please go check it out if you haven't, because I'm sure it's a great video because everything she puts together is great.
Yeah, I mean, I think KP's call was great. Like I said, I really like whatever phone he was calling in on today. It sounded a lot better. I think one thing I want to touch upon that KP did say in all that is what is a dream versus, and this is kind of what you were saying with Gray's theory. What is a dream versus what's a vision? When is he awake? When he's not? And I think it's the answer to that is yes, and always and no. And I do think there are some signs, and Gray points that out, and I think she's onto something there as well. But it's Tony, you're right in the sense of I think part of it is it's extending everywhere. It's extending into the daily moments, and he's sleeping on it. It's inside him. It's everywhere. There's no getting away from this now, and that's how it feels when you trip every day. And there's no differentiation between the reality and the. I've done it a few more times than 3, and when you do something every day like that, it becomes just part of your normal. And they're playing that really well in the scenes.
No doubt. Oh, real quick, Jackie C, thank you for sharing Gray Area's channel. But sure, she got enough subscribers. Let's show our girl Alys Rivers some love if you can, Jackie C, and put her channel link in the description. Gray got enough of subscribers. Goddamn it, she good. She good. But let's get Alys Rivers up and see. She needs some more subscribers. Let's put her link in the chat and everything else, and let people go watch that channel and everything else, and show her some love up in there. She's a great supporter of the channel and part of our sister podcast. And a great good man. She feasting on this season. You know what I mean? Put Alys Rivers channel up in there and go check out her videos and everything else. No disrespect to Gray, but I'm saying, come on, we gotta spread the love around. Bridge, what you thinking, man?
Yeah, I mean, I only watched the episode once. I enjoyed it. Then it was bedtime for Bonzos. I love Gray Area. KP is all right, and I stand with what you guys said. I mean, he's walking around. There's a lot of scenes that are real, and he's tripping.
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on to the daughter. He's talking about the daughter that set him fire and blood, not salt and sea. He's talking about.
Oh yeah, when he offers her.
That's who he's talking about. That daughter at the time when he's talking about her. Is that what he was talking about?
Yeah,
I like her. Like Corliss tried to give it to her. She's like, nah, I'm fire and blood. I ain't salt and sea, motherfucker.
She's one of the
how did you
coolest
take
characters.
that? How did you take that, Bridget?
So like, let's say I'm not a writer, right? I grew up. I was good with numbers growing up. Like my brother's a writer and stuff. I can appreciate the art that I read, but I would never have been like you read Bela. That was Bela, right? I'm pretty sure you're talking about Bela. Bela is an awesome character. I would never be able to write these little lines like that speak to who we read her as a character. And yeah, that nailed it. That's exactly who she is. Love her.
And you really feel for Corliss in these moments from having put all of his time into the Luke thing and like going, I don't care, it's my name, putting it through, and then finding him seeing himself in his granddaughter, and seeing himself in that, and then offering her that, and then her being like, "No, dude, I'm fire and blood." It was Corliss had 2 amazingly well acted scenes. He is such a good damn actor.
He is.
And like the first scene, I mentioned this earlier, and I didn't finish the thought. When we feel the weight of what happened, and we focus on Rhaenyra and him in that first scene, they don't say anything. The music's barely playing, and it's just all played in his emotion. This is the other scene with him that's just incredible. His reaction to that, like he's respecting and hurt at the same time. He's simultaneously playing.
Rose Jones. To accept, press 1.
We'll come
to send
right
a
back.
voicemail.
Let's
press
Shout out to Christina the Sphinx.
Is in the building rocking with us right now.
She just became a member.
New member.
Hi, this is Rose.
This is Rose. What's going on, Rose? How you doing?
Hi, I wanted to talk about the Targaryen daughter.
Let's go.
I think she messed up by not taking the titles and stuff, because all of these women are fighting for power and trying to uphold power, even the lady in the veil. And Shorty is like, nah, I'm blood and whatever. It's like, girl, you better take them titles. I think that was dumb of her tonight. To not take those titles. She could pass those on to her kids and stuff. I think that was foolish of her.
I agree with the caller.
Considering when you see how they talking to old girl around the round table, she's showing feet pics and giving it up to the guy, and both of them dusting on her. And here's your grandpa, like, I'm gonna give you power, I'm gonna give you land, I'm gonna give you title, and she's like, nah, I'm good. I thought that was really foolish of her.
All right. I will answer this. I agree with you. I'll let the other two people answer too, so I have to hang up with you and on that. But
Okay. So,
I agree.
all right, well, thank you
Russ.
so much for mentioning.
Yeah. If you want, we can switch to my line so we can talk.
Yeah, I love his rambles, even though he goes on too long. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, next time we'll switch over to Phil's line, so that means you could talk to all three of us and stuff on Phil's line. You want to hook it up now, Phil?
Yeah, I got it hooked up. If we want to switch that.
All right, we'll switch over. To
we can take either one really when it comes down to it.
But it's going to take yours.
I don't want to confuse people.
Now we're going to take Phil's lines from now on, so that way you can speak to all of us and stuff like that. I agree. Listen, it sounds beautiful. 718-990-8509 is the number to call in from now on for the rest of the show. Listen, it sounds badass. I'm fire and blood, not salt to see. Really, it sounds great to me, to you, to everyone watching. But realistically, the call is 100% right. You take the land when you get the land.
Yeah.
And especially as you said, you see the way other women have been treated here. You know what I mean? This is what it is. You may not be able to know how to row your boat, but you can figure it out. You know what I mean? So, well, how do you feel about what the Cola said?
I mean, keep in mind, she's heir, not the direct heir, yes, it's Jace or whatever, but she's heir to the Iron Throne. She has her vision. Like, this is her war, too, is the way she feels. And so there are other potential candidates, people whom she loves that could potentially be the heir to Driftmark. So I'm down with Baylor. I see what she's saying. I see what you're saying, too. If you're offered something like, hey, why not? Take it and then go from there. But, I mean, she's got her goal, and she's set on the Iron Throne.
I don't want to quote Ghostbusters too often here, but I can't help. If someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. If someone gives you the power, get the power, then you have control of it. You can give it to somebody else. It's in your ballpark. And I definitely understand what you're saying, Bridge. I like there's the attitude, not the attitude, but the vibe. No, I'm fire and blood. I don't need this shit. But it is, I guess, if you have the titles, just have it, and then it's in control. It's your kids. It's like whatever. I that's what I feel like. You take the stuff you get, but I see why she did it, and I respect her for it. You know, but I'd have taken it. I'm a greedy motherfucker.
I think you take it.
But it's also like I said, like, you remember when we talked about like king, like what would you name yourself if you're king?
Yep.
Like, I have no desire to be a king and rule over anyone. Give me a dragon in the open skies and I'm happy. You know what I mean? And I'm not even saying that's what she's saying. She has her eyes on the Iron Throne, which it's just a different possession. So I feel like she's not being selfish.
She's not. You're 100% right. But I definitely a bird in the hand, right? Yeah. A bird in the hand and everything. But what it sets up.
But KP, I did wonder this. The scene KP was talking about, because he said something about like the eerie, and isn't it eerie? He's talking about Rhaena, something about Rhaena.
Yeah, so I was talking about Rhaena in the eerie, her scene with Lady Arryn. I will say Lady Arryn should be the rider of Caraxes. All right. Yeah, she should be on Caraxes. A beautiful woman, but the neck is elongated.
Oh, is that what you're saying? I was like, I didn't know where you're getting at.
The truth. I mean, I'm saying she could deep throat a fucking moose.
Oh my lord!
I don't. That's not mean, right? I'm not trying to be mean.
Beautiful woman.
People taking that saying that's me. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be mean. I'm just saying the truth. Shorty came in and shit was like, hey, what's going on here? I was like, oh my god. That's what I see up in there. Like, the plunging neckline don't work here. Like you gotta get her a turtleneck or something. Call. All right, let's go through the whole Lady Arryn in the Vale. Did you like that scene or what?
I like all these sort of touching in on these different places. I got to admit, was this the episode where we saw the Freys too?
Yes.
I couldn't quite place everyone in every situation, but we got KP calling back in. Let's get. All right. What's going on, KP?
I am great. Well, I am great.
Music
to clarify. I was talking like I love Bela, but I was actually talking about Rhaena in the Eyrie and the scene she had with Lady Aaron, and you know that it was a kind of feisty back and forth. And the first time we kind of saw Rhaena in action, really, you know. And I'm wondering, what do you think? What do we think Rhaena's part in this game will be thus far? What do you think? You know, is the intention? What do you think the intention is for her? What do you think the future holds for her in the Eyrie?
It's hard, KP, to say stuff without giving stuff away. It's not like it's a show that we don't know what happens. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's hard to give a prediction without just saying what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I give a prediction, right? I'm just saying, like the same way we discussed, like, you know, the draft, the dream, Daemon's dreams. Like, what do we think it means that Rhaena was sent to the Eyrie? Because I don't think she was sent to the Eyrie in the books, was she?
Yes.
Or was she?
She was.
I don't remember, but. There was even if she was, there was never a whole bunch of conversation or a whole bunch of talk about what happened in the area. So, but they made a point of showing us Rhaena with Lady Aaron having a bit of a heated conversation, and perhaps Rhaena is coming into her own a little bit. So, what do we think Rhaena's role in the Rhaena's role in the Eyrie in this TV show really means? What do we expect of her? Because she is a character that has a lot of potential. She's a dragon rider, but she doesn't have she's a Targaryen who can be a dragon rider, but she doesn't have a dragon. She's a really smart girl, but because of, you know, certain things, she's not really in a position to really use her smart the Bela is. So, like, what do you think her breakout role will be in this dance?
I think her role is to survive. I think that's why she's sent there, to survive. Her role is to be with the next generation. Like, no matter what happens, I think that what they want from her is just survive when this is all said.
You're still on, KP. You're just turned down a little bit so Tony can talk.
So you think that Rhaena is just there, they sent her because, you know, you don't have a dragon, you really can't help us very much. So, like, just we'll go over there, chill out, be safe, and, like, when things are done, like, we'll come.
Just survive. I mean, you're the bloodline. You gotta have people that, you know, no matter what happens, that it could end bad either way for either side. That you have to have someone that can raise the next generation, and you know, coming back like I'm avenging my brother's death. You know, you gotta have that vengeance, that person who's able to do those things.
What? You know what? That answers the question. Perhaps that is where she learns to hone her fire, and she's able to bust into a room and make that kind of statement. You know, in very not too distant future. So that's all I was kind of saying. Very excited to see what happens today. Last thing I would ask, what are we looking forward to the most in this episode? And with that, this is my last call. I ain't bothering y'all anymore. Y'all have a good night. Chat, good night. I'll be in the chat. I'm gonna let you. But what are we majorly looking forward to in this episode?
You almost did it, KP. Talk to you soon, buddy. We love you.
That's right. Banks is 100. Big Banks 100%. Coogee Rap, greatest rap of all time. Of all time is Coogee Rap. Anyone who denies that doesn't know anything about hip hop music. Coogee Rap, greatest rapper of all time, better than anyone who's ever lived. Period. It really isn't close. And if anyone ever wants to have a debate or me a stream on it, we could have that. We could have that talk. But if you say Jay-Z, I will say that Jay-Z says in his song, "Hearing me rhyme is like hearing G-Rap in his prime." All right, so he's letting you know that G-Rap is the best. Baby. Come on, let's not even hear it. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. But that's all right. So let's go back to what we said. Yeah, I just think that her job is to survive over there. I think we'll get some interesting things in there. You know what I mean? But this chick don't want to do nothing unless she got dragons to protect it. Like, she's nervous over there. How did you take the scene in the Eyrie Bridge?
I liked it. One thing that KP mentioned that was pretty sweet is that he said, like, she showed some fire in this episode, fire that she hasn't showed before. I like that in Rhaena. That was cool. They mentioned the 2 dragons, and Lady Jane Eyre of the Vale sort of mocked them as like hatchlings or whatever. I'm curious if there's 2 hatched dragons, how big they are, what size they are. Are they rideable? Are they almost rideable? Are they too small to ride? So they're probably pretty small dragons. And get back to me. I had something else in my mind. I forgot it.
Phil, what you thinking?
I just think it's going to be a bridge go because I don't have much to say on this.
Before I forget it, he said, I think he said, what are we most looking forward to in the upcoming episode? For me, it's absolutely, we've seen Vermithor at the very end of season 1 when Daemon was like, oh, he was singing a Vermithor. I'm excited to see hopefully a full-bodied Vermithor. I'm also really excited to see Silverwing, and I'm just hoping, I want to see Silverwing as being almost as big as Vermithor.
Vermithor is the biggest dragon next to.
Yeah.
So he's larger than Rhaenys dragon, right? You did.
1 second, caller.
Yeah. So like there are 3 dragons that are all right about 100 years old. Dreamfire, Helena's dragon, is actually older than Vermithor, but age is not the only factor in dragon size. So Dreamfire is hopefully huge, though. Vermithor we know is going to be huge. They never really talk about Silverwing's size in the books, but Silverwing's about 100 years old at this point, like 2 years younger than Vermithor. So I'm hoping Silverwing's going to be beautiful and huge.
Yeah. So Vermithor should be the second biggest dragon.
Yeah.
Out of all these dragons, but you're saying Dreamfire should be that close too.
Dreamfire is even older than Vermithor, and we know that Dreamfire is not as big as Vermithor, but when you're over 100 years old, you've got to be a pretty big dragon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Vermithor has been wild in the wilds, not kept in the cages, so he could just grow and stuff. So Vermithor should be big. All right, let's go. Who we talking to, Phil?
Area code 602. Welcome to the show. Usual suspects. What's going on today?
Oh, hey, Phil, the issues. Hey, everyone. All right, this is Elisa.
What's going on,
I was
Lisa?
wondering, as far as like House of the Dragon, you notice that when they speak about the Targaryen lineage, they would say blood and fire instead of fire and blood, like how Daenerys said it. So I was wondering if there's some symbolism to that or meaning behind it. And also, the greatest rapper of all time is D-Nice. Taking out your suckers like you don't know how I did it.
What? Wait, you think D-Nice is the greatest rapper?
Oh, she hung up. Oh, she dropped the mic on you, Tony.
I don't know, D-Nice. He's not even in the conversation. He had a good song. He had one good song, D-Nice. He's a better producer than he is a rapper, D-Nice. Actually, D-Nice, I don't want to put any dirt on his name, but D-Nice is the reason Scott LaRock got shot and got killed. Was a direct relation of D-Nice because D-Nice was talking to this chick and the guy's boyfriend came in there on D-Nice and Scott LaRock jumped in there and tried to defend D-Nice and he wound up getting shot. Scott LaRock is the first hip-hop casualty ever in the history of hip-hop, you know what I mean, of all that got killed as a rapper and stuff like that. So, D-Nice is, I would say he's a better producer than an actual rapper.
Tony, I'm going to argue with you. The greatest rapper of all time is Dylan. Dylan. Sorry, it's a Chappelle joke. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
But that's the history. That's the history of D-Nice and character. I know all this stuff. Come on, man. All right. So what did she say before that?
I forget what the first part of the question was. I smoke too much.
She said the fire and blood was backwards.
Oh, yeah, backwards. The word switch. Is there any significance to the fact that they're saying blood and fire instead of fire and blood?
The book itself that George sort of put together a bunch of novellas and then he called it and then added some stuff and he called that book Fire and Blood. But the term fire and blood is used both ways in that book. Like Maegor the Cruel is wed in a ritual of blood and fire. There's a lot of incidents of like war that are described as blood and fire. So it goes both ways. I think most people think of fire and blood, but it goes both ways.
Yeah, I think the fire and blood thing is obviously the title of the book, and Daenerys always would say it, and that's still fresh on people's mind and stuff, But that but as you said, but as Bridge has pointed out there, you know what I mean. They just do two different things and everything else.
Oh, we got area code 203. Welcome to the show, area code 203.
Y'all can hear me?
Yes, we can. What's going on, caller?
What's up? This is Cliff. I'm calling for the last 2 weeks, talking about line of succession and everything. I like the scene where Alicent stood up at the table. She wanted to rule, But I don't know what gave her the audacity to feel like she was worthy of ruling. She's not even the king's wife. She's the king's mother. And I'm glad that they shut her down and they ain't let her. They didn't support her because she don't really have no reason to be ruling. She's not even like the queen regent, right? She's just the mother. So I was happy to see that. And I even read the books of this Fire and Blood. So I don't really know what type of king Aemond would be. If that's his name, I can't. All their names sound similar. Or Daemon, Aemond, yeah, Aemond.
No, Aemond.
But I'm starting to feel like a little. I remember the lore. I'm getting some Maegor the Cruel vibes from him. I'm wondering what he's gonna do. I almost could even see him grabbing that feather pillow that Daemon was trying to convince that little boy to kill his grandfather with. I could see Aemond doing that to his brother, and so he could really be the king and not even have to worry. But not that that's gonna happen. But I think he's not gonna be a good king, but an entertaining king for us. That's all I got to say.
Awesome call, my friend. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got a bunch of people in here talking. But listen, if y'all really want me to do a live stream about hip hop,
I want in on that too.
The greatest rappers of all time, I'll give you a top 20 list. Scarface is not in there. And he's not in there. He's a great. I like Scarface. Not great. And the thing about Scarface is a lot of other rappers give Scarface a lot of credit. Like I know Kool G Rap says before that Scarface is one of his favorite rappers, right? But there's criteria to this that I use to define who the best rappers are. And there's three type of rap songs. There's braggadocious rap song where you're just bragging about yourself, right? There's storytelling rap songs where you sell stories, and there's also the final element of how to make a hit record of a rap song. Like there's hit record raps. Put a top 10 to all three categories, and then rank each person by that. And if you do that, and you go across, I should say battle rap too, and battle rap. There has to be a battle rap in there. Put a top 10 to each of them and rank each rapper on that. And if you do that and you go across the board, you'll see that Kool G Rap ranks higher than everybody.
Tony, I have a question. In your top 10 list, is Big Daddy Kane in your top 10 list?
Yeah, of course. Big Daddy.
Is Rakim in your top 10 list?
Rakim is definitely.
Rakim is okay. Yeah, Rakim's like maybe my number one. He's in the top 3 for me.
And you don't even know how to say his name.
It's true. It's true. It's true. I don't.
KRS-One. Yeah, a lot of those guys. That definitely, you know what I mean. With that, look at Slick Rick. We'll do a stream on it. Slick Rick. We'll do it. Slick Rick's the greatest storytelling rapper. So in the storytelling category, he gets a 10. But in the battle rap category, I got to give him a 3. Slick Rick can't battle nobody. He's not a great battle rapper. That's why you have to have these categories and then put them all together. And when you put them all together and you weigh it all out, I'm telling you, Kool G Rap ranks higher than everybody. And that's just what it is, all that good stuff. But I will do a stream about it. Phil will join me because he's in on. And y'all better show up for it, man. Without a shower, y'all better show up for it. But we'll do a stream.
Yeah, and then there's like good people that were successful hits, but I wouldn't put them in the top list of things like that.
There's great Drake. A lot of other people are great hit makers, but when it comes to battling, comes to storytelling,
like Snoop, these boys, things like that. Great acts, but they didn't.
They should. That's why you have to have these lists, these 4 lists. But that's what I made up. I made up these 4 categories, put them in there, rank them on the 4 categories, and then you'll see who the actual greatest is. And that's what it is. All right, we're going back to House of the Dragon. No more rap music talk for the rest of the show. All right, I love it. We can talk all the time and everything else, but we'll keep going and everything else. All right, what else happened in this episode that we have not talked about yet?
We got more of Corliss's kid, didn't we? A little bit? No, that was last week's episode.
That was last week. We did the Corliss. We talked to Corliss. We
got Hugh the Hammer with at one point. Didn't we?
All right, let's talk Hugh the Hammer real quick. Bridge, are you looking forward to seeing the Dragon Seed scene? So obviously, I think we'll see him tonight. Correct?
I'd imagine, yeah. See, that's the one thing we don't know how far this season's gonna go. Like, I would like to see Dragon Seed scenes, and how earlier I was like, I like the slowed show and building up the things. I wouldn't mind if we ramped up and got a lot done this episode. Like, I'll be very vague. The way that a lot of people think the season's going to end, I wouldn't mind if that even happened in this episode.
Yeah, so, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I don't know how do you think it's going to end, Templeton?
Well, see, I currently think Prick, but a lot of people thinking like this. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it ends like that. I don't know if it ends that way.
So that could, but anyway, yeah. To answer your question though, I'm very, very excited for the dragon seed scenes.
Yeah,
I am sowing of the seeds, or it's the red sowing.
Is that the name? What's the name of this episode?
Oh no, I don't know. That's just the name of
I wonder what the name of this episode.
That might actually be the name of the episode. To be honest,
I bet you it does have something to do with the seeds in this episode, because it has to be. You have to. I mean, you talked about it and everything else and all that. So yeah, I would think it would have to be something like that. You know what I mean? You have to do the dragon seeds. This episode, I don't predict that very action-packed episode. This episode either. I think this episode would be a lot of dialogue too. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it will be a building episode, building up for these final two big things. So I think we will see a lot of Dragon Seed stuff. I guess the other thing we didn't really talk about that someone mentioned in the live chat, we haven't talked about Jace and Jace stepping up and being more of a character. He kind of reminds me of Dan Humphrey from Gossip Girl a little bit. But I do think he's turning into more of a character. His scenes with Rhaenyra made him, you could see more of his personality, and I like what they're doing with Jace at this point right now. They're making me care about him.
Yeah, what do you think about Jason the Freys, Bridge?
Say that again. Jason the Freys?
Yeah, Jason the Freys.
The Freys?
The Frey. Yeah, he went to.
Oh, sorry. I've been hearing. I thought you were saying Jason, Jason, Jason LaFrey.
Jason LaFrey. Is that a new house?
He probably shouldn't be up there, Jason, chopping them down. This was a different look at the Freys, right? We know the Freys from Walder Frey, dirty, dingy. These seem like, I don't know what happened in the water, but later on in life they get dirty. Right now, these look like clean Freys. These are the Freys are clean right now.
Yeah,
they're tied and shit. They got their shit. The wife look cool. Everyone look at how'd you deal with that?
So this is, unless I'm mistaken, I don't think this scene appears in the books or is noted in the book. So it sort of threw me for a loop, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. It's not a scene that I needed per se, but it's a scene that does make sense. Especially, like, my only concern though for casual watchers is, do they understand the map? Do they understand why those bridges are important? And I don't know if the show does a good job conveying that. For me, when I see the crossing, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I know why that's important for the events to come. I don't know if the show nails that necessarily.
Yeah,
Phil?
I would agree with that it doesn't necessarily set up the geography and why that's important in the way that even the main Game of Thrones series did, and a couple of interesting dialogue heavy scenes that gave you some exposition about why what Rob was doing was wrong, why he needed to do this. And I don't think they quite made it that clear. And I think part of the problem is, as much as I do love all the small council scenes that we're getting in this season so far and the variations of them, the way they're being filmed is to create confusion, like you're watching a tribal council at Survivor and it's a hot tribal and everyone's arguing. So a lot of the information that's happening I don't know if other people are feeling this way about it, are kind of passing over. I'm not listening to it as much, and I'm more taking in the whole experience as a visceral experience, and it kind of slips past. So I don't think they really built up that as much for someone watching this that doesn't understand the world already and understand why the twins are important in general. And so to your point, Bridge, I definitely agree with you. I don't think they set that up quite. Maybe a close-up of a map that shows you it and someone's pointing there, but instead it's exposition dialogue that's happening in one of the many small console things that we have that we're supposed to feel something else while we're watching it.
I think it's also interesting just trying to step in the shoes of a show fan. So he promised them Harrenhal, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's basically it's in the Riverlands. It's the biggest house. It's the biggest castle there, but it's not. They don't rule. The Tullys rule the Riverlands, right? In Riverrun, but they were promised Harrenhal. So now fast forward, whatever it is, 180 years, 170 years. The Freys don't have Harrenhal. So at what point did they get it? Did they not get it? What went down at Harrenhal? So if I was a show watcher, I would start asking myself those questions. I'd find that.
I think the Freys get a bad rap. I'm being honest. Listen, are they dirty? Yes. Do they look dirty? Yes. They're still a major family, but I think that you base a lot of things on the Red Wedding. When, in all honesty, if you really want to go by the letter of the law, they were fucked over by Robb Stark. Robb agreed to marry their fucking daughter. He agreed. His mom wouldn't have made a deal, and he reneged on the deal and fucked over their honor. And listen, Pretty Walder Frey was hot as fuck. Aemond Targaryen was happy when he seen her. He was like, "Yeah, we'll get married." He was like, "Yeah, I'll marry her." Yeah. He put his.
She was smoking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's a bigger Game of Thrones question, not something to talk about here. But would Tywin have been able to convert Walter if Rob never Walter if Rob never broke that oath? Would Tywin still have tried the same thing and worked against?
If they get the phrase, Rob wins easy. There's no, he doesn't die.
Right.
He wins easy. He goes down there with the Frey's army and them. He marches on King's Landing and he wins easy. But he chose pussy. He chose it. You know what I mean? Now y'all may have to say something else, and y'all can say he was trying to keep this young lady's honor. He was manipulated by that woman's fucking mother in the books to get this whole situation. Now she knew what the fuck she was doing. But and honestly, when you want to go down to it, he's the one who broke his vow. And that's the bottom line. He wins the war fucking easy. Marries Pretty Walder Frey. He had any one of them. Any one of them he had to pick up. He didn't say you had to marry this daughter. He said anyone. Just pick that you pick and we're good and it's done. And he reneged on it. And that's the bottom line. Pam House Lord, thank you for the $10. Why did Jace and the Freys have to actually meet and talk on the bridge? I think it was more of they wanted to show you the bridge itself and show you why they needed the thing. That's why they did the breakfast on the bridge, a little brunchy bridge.
Yeah, it was memorable.
And that's the castle. Like the bridge is the castle on both sides of it. That's where they live.
Yeah, so I think that's the way it is, but nah, I think the Freys get a bad rap, and they gave him the bread and they gave him the salt and they let him in the crib, but you disrespected, bro. You should have known. You should have known better. And then you're gonna bring this hoe into the castle with you?
That wasn't smart.
Pregnant?
That wasn't.
When it should have been my daughter, motherfucker. Who are you? Fuck you. Yeah, I don't like the phrase, but I understand. I understand why they did what they did. And
Walter might be right, but he's still an asshole.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And listen, he was old man getting young wives. Ain't far from reality right now with motherfuckers, right? He wasn't doing nothing that's out of the box. He wasn't sleeping with his daughters or doing nothing crazy like that. He just was. His wife kept dying off, so he got a younger one. That's what he kept doing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, in all honesty, if you really look at it and you want to be honest about it, that's what it is. We got another super chat. Yeah, Kelly Johnson sent in a few. We'll get to those in a second.
Thank you, Kelly.
Almost done. Walter had personal reasons, not just an oath breaking. Ex the Tullys. Yes, the Tullys made him feel like shit also. They always looked down upon him and always treated him like shit, even though he was in stature, he's just about not as high as the Tullys, but he's right there. He's close enough. Like no one's as high as the Tullys, right? But he's right there, Brett. You agree on that? Well, Phil, would you agree on that?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's. I mean, still an important house.
Yeah. So it's he's not a major house like they are. The Tullys are a little above him. But right then, Walder Frey is right there, not to be looked down upon.
Yeah, like Roose Bolton is not important person in the North. He's just not Ned Stark.
Exactly.
That's he's what, the number 2 most important person in the North?
I would think so. He probably has the second largest castle and everything, especially when you deal with everything. And listen, the Freys, I would like to see how the Freys won that bridge to begin with, because that's a fucking prime fucking piece of real estate right there. How the fuck they get that bridge? You know what I mean? That's where I want to be. You got to pay the toll to the troll, baby. That's the way it goes. What do you think, Rich, about the Tullys and the Frey?
First off, just random thought. I personally believe that old Nan is a Frey. That's a topic for a different time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, so I believe what they mentioned in this episode is that, so Jason went up there, he said, like, the Northerners are coming down. So basically, I don't know if the person who sent in the super chat earlier was asking this question, like, why the bridge? A real quick geography is that basically if you're coming down from the north, the continent gets real skinny. There's a river coming down. If you stay to the east of the river, then you could head to like the Vale, you could head to the Crown Lands. in order to get over to the Riverlands and the Westerlands, you'd have to cross this big river. So that's why it's a really, like Phil said, he used the word geography. To me, that's a big word. And yeah, it's a key geographic location on the map in terms of wars. Because when the Northerners come down, they have the option of going east of the river or west of the river. And that's what Rob did, actually, in Game of Thrones. He split. He had people go both sides. He had people go down on the east side and fight Tywin, and then he snuck over and then snuck down to River Run himself and ambushed Jaime.
All right, so Phil Issues guy will bring over the map. And
there you go. Yeah.
Show you exactly why it's so important. You can see it right from the top right there down. If you want to walk the King's Road goes through the Frey's line, right? It goes through that bridge.
Yeah, it's probably really close. Yeah, I think King's Road stays east of the Freys the whole way, east of the river.
Does it go east of the river?
I think so. I don't think it goes down to the Riverlands. I could be mistaken though. I'm gonna look that up
because the King's Road goes all the way up to the north from there, right, and everything. So yeah, I think it sets it up for Tumbleton, the first battle. Because you have to have is it the first or second battle where the wolves get involved?
Where who gets involved?
The wolves get involved in Tumbleton.
Wolves, like northern wolves?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is it the first or the second battle they're involved in?
They're not part of second Tumbleton. I don't believe they're part of first Tumbleton either.
Yeah, don't they come through and?
I'm sorry. There's different. I'm thinking of there's different Northerners, right? It's hard to speak about this stuff without getting into spoilers, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. It may be setting up. They had Sir Hugh Hammer's wife name drop Tumbleton.
Yes, she did.
Right, and now then they're having the bridge that the wolves need to come through to get down. So I think they're setting it up that they're gonna get down there. But I think it's the second battle of Tumbleton when they get there. I don't think they get there for the first one.
They're in there's other battles too in the Riverlands that they're involved in.
Yeah, they got to cut their way through to get down there. So it's not like they just get to march and make it. It's a bloody battle for them all the way down and stuff. I mean, what the best battle that we're going to see in this show should be what the battle on the water, right? It's the bloodiest battle. The fish feeder. Is it the fish feeder battle?
The battle of the fish feed.
Yeah, the fish feed.
I mean,
that should be the biggest battle we get in the series, right?
Well, I mean, that could be the type of battle that, for all we know, it's off screen.
No way.
Yeah, it could be.
You can't do it. That's like the biggest, bloodiest battle in the whole thing. I think it's. You think they would do that, Bridge? No, they can't do that.
Just based off of based off of which characters are where at the time, I think that's one they could potentially do off screen. But hopefully not.
Yeah, I just don't think that they can actually do. Yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and everything else like that. People like Phil don't be playing. Now Phil don't play. Phil's supposed to bring the map out on your ass, and that's just what it is. And so you can actually see what's going on and everything. All right, that's it. Listen, we're gonna wrap up right now. We got a half an hour to go. As always, want to give y'all time to go do what you got to do. If anyone was offended by my moose comment, I'm sorry. Not really.
It was a compliment.
Yeah, that sure is a goddamn compliment. That sure is a compliment. But she was my friend.
Ooh,
go ahead.
I don't want to. Jesse's comment. I kind of agree with Jesse's comment. You might not want to highlight it though.
Who is it?
It's. I agree with it. It's just talking about which big battles and stuff. So there's a
it won't be bigger than that. That won't be bigger than that.
Yeah.
No.
A second Tumbleton is like one of the best lines in all Fire and Blood is like how the war between Rhaenyra and her half brother is often referred to as the Dance of the Dragons, but only at Tumbleton did the dragons ever truly dance. That's a good line.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now we're not spoiling it. I'm getting closer. Everybody put the call away emoji in the app if you're a member. Goddamn it. Put a call away our girl up in here, all the way from the land down under. Let her know we show us some love and everything. Put the Fill the Issues guy emoji up in there. Put the Bridge 4 emoji up in that before we get up out of here, man. Put it up in there, man. Show your love and everything else and all that good stuff. Again, check out Fill the Issues guy's channel. If you're looking for that after show, he'll be on there doing everything else. You know what I mean? Doing big things over there. Show that brother some love. Christina the Sphinx is in the building. I know she's doing a spoiler. She's doing straight spoilers on her streams. So go check her out. You want to talk spoilers and everything, go check that. Phil just left us.
Piece it out.
It's like that and everything else. Let's get up out of here. I guess that is the whole reason for us to get up out of here. I see everybody throwing up their emojis and all that good stuff and everything. If you like the way I do this, please thumbs up this, spread this across the realm, and also subscribe. Until next time, you know who it is. Peace and stay sexy.
Oh my God.